Welcome back to another video. Today we are in the Great League Fossil Cup, and let's see what team we're going to be trying out today. So it looks like we're going to be using the Registeel pair with the Jellicent and the Shadow Poliwrath. So we have a Witch Catch lead. We simultaneously switch out into our Shadow Poliwrath. This comes out to CAP. Looks like we are lagging a little bit. We fire off our Icy Wind. We do get the shield, which is fantastic. And now our opponent here is going to have to throw a move. They go for the Scald. They also get the debuff. But the better thing is we are at the energy advantage. So now we're just going to go for this Dynamic Punch here. This is going to get the Blast Shield or 1050 KO. Our opponent decides to let it go, and we are in a better situation now. We see the Wish Cache come back in, so whatever they have in the bag does not want to see this Poliwrath, so we got to keep that in mind. We're going to use our Jellicent right here. This Jellicent is going to be able to tank these Mud Bombs much easier. So we're just going to make sure we pull on good timing here. We'll go for the Surf to potentially get a shield, or maybe we do enough damage so that it gets in range for 2 Surfs. The next Mud Bomb is going to go through. We're going to take it, and we're thinking there's like a flyer in the back. Oh, our opponent does be able to throw the move on ideal timing for them. Forces us to shield from then going for our next Surf here after some farm. This is going to KO, it seems like, and let's see what they have in the bag. Oh man, ends up being the S-Cavalier in the bag. Unfortunate. The Shadow Ball does go through, doesn't quite KO. Trying to get to another Surf to at least get a shield. No, and unfortunately unable to grab that last move right there, and unfortunately made a bad read, and this Registeel just had no place to go, it seems like. ABA pretty good against our Registeel. The Jellicent that we had needed to be our closer instead of the Reggie, so a little bit unfortunate right there. Just we anticipated some kind of flyer for the Wish Cache, but then it being the S5 Here we have the Reggie versus the Shadow Magnezone. Definitely don't want to see the Magnezone on the Jellicent, so we're just going to stay in for now. Let's see what they throw here. Ends up being a Wild Charge, so they are defrogged. And then we're just going to throw in this next Focus Blaster to get a shield. Let's see what they end up doing. They decide to shield it, and then we're just going to take that shield advantage, switch out into our Poliwrath, and they have their own Poliwrath. So they don't have a true answer to this Shadow Poliwrath. We're just going to fire off our Dynamic Punch here. Huge damage goes through. Our opponent ends up tanking it, thinking we probably didn't have the Dynamic Punch. We're going to shield up. We do get debuffed, but we are still healthy enough to take out that Magnezone if it decides to come back in. But they end up using the Jellicent. So Jellicent in the back here is going to be able to beat this Poliwrath. But what an interesting team that they had. Instead of going against this Poliwrath with their Jellicent, they chose to use their own Poliwrath. So this is going to be very beneficial for them because, as you can see here, we have our own Jellicent in the bag. So their Jellicent being able to farm down our Poliwrath is going to come in clutch for them because they have energy on their Magnezone and their Jellicent has the energy advantage. So Wild Charge does go blue here. Opponent does have to end up shielding or letting this go. Let's see what they end up doing here. They decide to shield it, and they are going to be able to get to another move. So GG's to our opponent. Similar teams, but very interesting switch that they've had. If they had used their Jellicent for our Poly, they would have been able to win that match up there, and then our own Jellicent would have been matched up against their Poliwrath. So a little bit fortunate for them that they basically had the same backline as us, but they had a bit of a lead. All right, here we got the Ferrothorn versus our Reggie. We're going to expect them to switch out. They re-switch out into the Poliwrath, and this is where our own Jellicent is going to go in handy. We are going to be able to tank the first wheel. Let's see what moveset they're going to be running. They have the Dynamic Punch Poliwrath, so this is a very favorable matchup for us, anticipating Dynamic Punch and Icy Wind. We do throw the Shadow Ball right there, and it does huge damage, and our opponent decides to leave because that's going to be a farm down for us, and then we're going to be able to throw energy back at that Ferrothorn, getting it pretty low actually before being KO'd. So they decided to leave the game. next game, let's see who we are facing. We got the Mantine versus the Reggie here. Pretty good lead. They switch out into their Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is dealing super effective fast moves and charge moves. So we're going to shield once here. Can we get the farm down from this range? This looks iffy. No, unable to get the farm down. So we're going to have to throw the move right when they get the move. So let's see if they want to shield or let this go. They decided to shield. So they really want this move to go off. In order for us to take advantage of this, we're actually going to let this go. We're going to take a little extra farm with our Reggie. And then they have the Poliwrath in the back. So this Poliwrath in the back is going to throw an early move. This is Power Up Punch. Yeah, it is the Power Up Punch version. So interesting Poliwrath right here. You're going to throw the Zap Cannon here. This is going to give the Sibor a lot of damage. And then we're going to switch on into our Jellicent. And since they're running Power Up Punch here, they really don't have any moves that can affect this Jellicent. Icy Wind does get thrown, and then we are going to overfarm. They switch out into their Mantine here. So Mantine is going to be able to do some more neutral damage instead of having all their moves resisted by that Poliwrath. Unfortunately, we are debuffed, so it's going to require at least 3 Shadow Balls potentially. It looks like we are going to try to get to another Shadow Ball. Our opponent does still the move, so we're going to have to shield right here because we need to keep this Jellicent alive. This Jellicent is going to be our key to victory. We're going to go for the Shadow Ball right here. Okay, and then we're looking to switch out. Our opponent here is staying in for now. They throw a move. What move is this? Ice Beam. So Ice Beam is not going to hurt that much. And then because they allowed us to farm, we are going to be able to reach the Zap Cannon before they get to the move. Zap Cannon goes through, takes out the Poly, and now we have the lock on down for that Mantine. So GG's our opponent able to win that game with the Jellicent and the Reggie farm down. So they had an interesting team. Mantine and Poliwrath on the same team. Pretty weak to electric types this team, huh? Alright, here we go. We got the Lantern versus our Reggie here. We got Reggie and the Poliwrath to kind of deal with this Lantern if we get it low enough. We're going to let the first one go through. It ends up being the Thunderbolt, which is fine. We can tank that. We go for our own Zap Cannon here. This is going to deal some decent damage. It does get the debuff, which helps to cause. The next Zap Cannon potentially could KO, so we got to keep that in mind. We're going to let this next one... we're going to shoot this next one here. Ends up only being the Surf, but that's okay. We're going to go for our own Focus Blast bait, and it does grab the shield. So this is an opportunity for us to get it low enough for a potential farm with our Poly. We're going to tank this Surf here, which is ideal for us. We're going to go for another Focus Blast here. It should be enough to potentially KO, but let's see what they end up doing. They do decide to double sheet, so we're going to switch out of that situation, go into our Poliwrath, and deal a lot of damage with our counters. We're going to shield here. Let's see what they throw. Ends up only being Sir, but that's okay. They come back in with their Poliwrath, so they have no answer to our own Poliwrath. We had a ton of energy. We're going to fire off this Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch gets it into the low red, and then we're going to be able to farm down, so that's huge. That is fantastic news for us here. What do they have lurking in the back? Wow, Ferrothorn lurking in the back. We're going to be able to throw this Dynamic Punch on good timing. This is going to do a tremendous amount of damage. So much so it does take out the Ferrothorn, and now we're going to be able to counter down against Tad Lantern. So GG's our opponent able to win that game basically with the Shadow Poliwrath. So check out this team. If you haven't already, let us know if you enjoyed the video.